Hello, everyone. I'm Srikanta Patanjali. I'm from ICC Lab, from Zurich University of Applied Sciences. So in next 15 to 17 minutes, I'll try to give a wrap-up on the research we are doing with respect to dynamic rating, charging, and billing, specifically for cloud and in general, OpenStack also as a use case. These are the contents which I'll be talking about. Now I'll just try to introduce who we are, what have we done till now, the story so far because we have done some work, and what is it that we are coming up in the next version or next version of our iterations. So starting who we are. Init Cloud Computing Lab is part of Zurich University of Applied Science, and it is based out of Winterthur in Switzerland. It has a wide area of research interest that includes energy efficiency, green IT, cloud economics. Under cloud economics comes the rating, charging, and billing. And also we have a few people working on software-defined networking. Who am I? I'm a student of Hochschule Hof. I'm doing my Master of Engineering. And at ICC Lab, I'm an intern who's working on the Cloud Economics Initiative. So what is this? What is rating, charging, and billing? Basically, we all hear about people using OpenStack to deploy cloud in big scale, in a small scale, in private and public. But especially in a public cloud, it's very important to monitor the usage. It's not just important to monitor the usage, but also to charge for the usage which has been done. So rating, charging, and billing basically consist of monitoring the resources. Over here, Ceilometer does it for us. Utilizing the resource usage data to calculate a dynamic rate. That's where the whole system comes up with a number to figure out a charge or a number so that it can bill the customer for whatever usage he has done. And finally, to sum it all, the system generates a bill in terms of the currency, which says that, hey, you need to pay X euros or Y francs for whatever usage you have done. So this is the whole rating, charging, and billing as a concept. But why? Why are we doing this? What we found out at ICC Lab was, even though rating, charging, and billing has had a long time, especially in telco industry, it hasn't yet evolved in the cloud, in the whole cloud ecosystem. And to add to it, we still do not have a reliable open source alternative where companies can make use of to deploy their own billing system, to specifically to have their own rating, charging, and combine it with a billing system. So that's when we thought, as a research institute, we should contribute in this direction. But what have we done? We have been working on this for past 1 year almost. And what we have done so far is we have come up with a proof of concept which has been open sourced and also does billing along with pricing, specifically for OpenStack. So this has already been released, and what we are trying to do now is try to build up on this. What we did was create a standalone system where it could calculate the usage of a user, for whatever resources. It could be CPU utilization, it could be memory usage, it could be something to do with networking bytes in, bytes out. So it is able to calculate all this and generate a PDF at the end of the whole stage or the end of the whole cycle and say to a person that, hey, as a user, this is the amount of usage you have done, and for whatever pricing for whatever pricing rules or for whatever pricing formula which has been defined for you, this is the amount which you need to pay. So the proof of concept what we have done can do this, and it has been open sourced, as you can see. So I wouldn't go into the demo. You could take a look into it through the links which I'll be sharing. So it talks about how one can make use of this, a standalone system, to have a small a billing system with also rating as a feature included part of it, and see how we can do it for a small company or for a small cloud setup. Now, what was it that we achieved out of that? Now, what we did was this complete standalone system. What we realized was when these things are deployed in a larger scale, it's much more efficient if it's modular. And we also see a value in the data which is produced at different stages of the whole process. And that's when we thought we should also make it microservices based. Because as microservices, it gives much more, it gives an opportunity for, or it creates a platform for other applications to harp on the data which gets produced by each of these microservices. And we could find multiple use cases where, hey, this microservice, which does only a small part of the whole rating, billing, and charging, can create a whole ecosystem where different applications can make use of the data which comes out of this. And that's when we redesigned the whole thing and came up with rating, charging, and billing through a modular and microservice-based approach. So what you see over here is an overall diagram. It consists of 3 microservices: UDR generator microservice. UDR is user data records. The term comes from the telco industry. Rating and charging as a microservice, and finally billing as a microservice. The authentication in between inter-services, between all the microservices, is done through Keystone. There's a message broker which helps in getting the data from an external SaaS or a PaaS application. So this is the overall architecture of the whole system, and now I would go deep into each one of these modules. To start off with is the UDR generator microservice. So basically what's happening over here is, on the left-hand side, we have telemetry, which is as part of OpenStack. It monitors all the resources. It tracks all the resources through multiple meters for a user, in terms of user or in terms of tenant. Now, UDR microservice, what it does is it takes this data, it transforms this data, changes the data structure. It transforms this data and it saves into the time series database. Once it saves in the time series database, it also, what it does is it tries to map the user with the user details, which is stored in the user database. So over here, what we also see is a possibility of including external data along with the resource usage data generated by the telemetry. As one of the use case, what we are doing at our lab is the energy resource consumption or energy monitoring work. So we are doing energy monitoring work, and what happens over there is using Quapi, people are able to generate numbers in terms of the energy consumption per user or per instance. Now, it's possible to combine this data along with the resource usage data, and then maybe have a rate defined to it, and have a integrated billing system where not only resource usage but also energy consumption could be made use of, and finally a bill can be generated. So the whole system has been designed in such a way that the UDR generator microservice not just uses the resource usage data, but also any data which is coming outside from an external application. And the whole thing is saved in a time series database, which helps us in data aggregation or mathematical operations on the resource usage data. Now, the data given out by this microservice is nothing but the whole data structure, which consists of the resource usage data as well as the external data, whichever is coming inside. So this, as a whole, is exported or exposed by this microservice. Now, in the next stage, what happens is once we have the resource usage data, we generate a rate, and then using the rate, we generate a pricing value. And this is done by rating and charging microservice. On the left-hand side, what you see is a load monitor. Load monitor, it typically monitors the load on the server. It could be the CPU utilization number, or it could be any other factors. Now, this number is considered by the rating engine, what we can see on the top of the slide, to generate a rate for the resource which is being used. And this rate will be combined with the resource usage, and finally a rating value is generated. Now, this rating value is saved along with the resource usage in the pricing database, and finally, altogether, the rating and charging as a microservice exposes a value which consists of the pricing value per user, and it could also be extended per tenant. Now, once we have the pricing value of a particular user, what billing service does is it combines the billing. So billing microservices consist of a billing engine which consumes the data generated by rating and charging, and it makes use of the discounts or different plans which a particular user has subscribed to, and finally it generates the final bill, so that customer knows that he needs to pay X euros or Y francs. So this is the final output of the whole. This is the final output of the billing microservice. Now, that sums up the whole rating, charging, and billing as a microservice. So what we have done right now is we are at the advanced stage of creating the UDR service, which will be generated, which will be opened up to all of you guys in next couple of weeks. And I'm just going through the slides since I'm at the end of the time. Here is the slide where you can get all the information. So we have open source the data. We have open source the data, the code. Sorry, and you can focus. That's where you can. That's where you can get all the code what I talked about. That's the contact address, and you can also tweet us to know more information. And the website has all the information on the research initiatives. So thank you for listening, and we hope for some good feedback from you.